Hello everybody, I hope you all are safe at your place. Dear, today we are going to start with the next chapter from our honeysuckle book, that is Taro'S Reward. The story is about a young woodcutter named Taro who lived with his parents. Though he worked very hard, but he earned very little money. So let us read the story. A young woodcutter named Taro lived with his parents on a lonely hillside. All day he chopped woods in the forest. Chopped means cut. Though he worked very hard, he earned very little money. This made him sad. He was a thoughtful son who always thinked to give happiness to his parents and wanted to give his old parents everything they needed. One evening, when Taro and his parents were sitting in a corner of their hut, a strong wind began. It whistled through the cracks of the hut, and everyone felt very cold. Suddenly, Taro's father said, I wish I had a cup of sake. It would warm me and do my old heart good. Sake is a kind of a drink a hard drink people used to have. This made Taro sadder that he is not able to give a sake to his father. How do I earn more money? He asked himself. How do I get a little sake for my old poor father? Next morning, Taro jumped out of his bed earlier than the usual and made his way to the forest. He chopped and cut and chopped and cut as the sun climbed, and soon he was so warm that he had to take off his jacket. His mouth was dry and his face was wet. He thought, my poor old father, if only he was as warm as I. And with that, he began to chop even faster, thinking of the extra money he must earn to buy the sake to warm the old man's bone. Then suddenly Taro stopped chopping. What was that sound he heard? Could it be possible be rushing water? Taro could not remember even seeing or hearing rushing stream in that part of the forest. He was thirsty. The axe dropped out of his hand and he ran in the direction of the sound. Suddenly, what he saw, he was surprised. Taro saw a little waterfall hidden behind a rock. It was surprise for him because he never ever see that before. Keening at that place where the water flowed quietly, he cupped a little in his hand and drank. Was it water or was it sake? He tasted it again and again. Always it was delicious, sake instead of cold water. Taro quickly filled the pitcher he had with him. The old man was delighted with that. After only one swallow of the liquid, he stopped shivering and did a dance in the middle of his hut. That afternoon, a neighbor stopped by for a visit. Taro's father politely offered her a cup of sake. The lady drank it and thanked to the old person. Then Taro told her the story of the magic waterfall. Thanking them and for the delicious drink, she left in a hurry. By nightfall, she had spread the story of throughout the whole village. That evening, there was a long procession of visitors to the woodcutter house. Each man heard the story of waterfall and took a sip of sake. In less than an hour, the pitcher was empty. Next morning, Taro started for a walk even earlier than the morning before. He carried with him the largest pitcher he owned, for he intended first of all to go to the waterfall. When he reached, he found to his great surprise all his neighbors there. They were carrying pitchers jars, buckets, anything they could find to hold the magic drink. Then one villager knelt and held his mouth under the waterfall to drink. He drank again and again, then shouted angrily, "Water! Nothing but water!" Others also tried, but there was no sake, only cold water. They are being shouted now for a tarot. They thought that tarot had a trick with them. But Tarot had been wise enough to slip behind a rock when he saw how things were going. Muttering their anger and disappointment, the villagers left the place one by one. Taro came out from the hiding place. Was it true? He wondered. Was the sake a dream? Once more, he caught a little liquid in his hand, put it into his lips. It was a fine sake. To the thoughtful son, the magic waterfall gave the delicious sake. To everyone else, it gave only cold water. The story of Taro and his magic waterfall reached the emperor of the Japan. He sent for a woodcutter and rewarded him with 20 pieces of the gold for having been so kind. Then, the most beautiful fountain in the city after Taro. They said the emperor was to encourage all the children to honor and obey their parents. Thank you for listening and goodbye.